What childhood friend were you suddenly not allowed to play with anymore? I still remember the exact moment my mom told me I couldn't see Jasmine anymore. Jasmine was my best friend since kindergarten. We were inseparable. Our houses were just 3 blocks apart, and we walked to school together every day. We had matching friendship bracelets, secret codes, plans to go to the same college someday. Even had this dream about living in houses next door to each other when we grew up so our kids could be best friends too. For 2 weeks, I tried calling her house, but no one answered. Her mom used to carpool with my mom, but suddenly that stopped too. At school, Jasmine wouldn't look at me. She started sitting with other girls at lunch. If I tried to talk to her, she'd just walk away like I didn't exist. It was like losing a limb. I couldn't understand what happened. Kept replaying every conversation, every stupid thing I might have said, but nothing made sense. My dad was acting weird too. He started working late almost every night. When he was home, he and mom would have these whispered fights in their bedroom that would stop the second I walked down the hall. One night, I heard mom crying in the bathroom. I stood outside the door for like 20 minutes, just frozen, not knowing what to do. She never cried. Even when grandma died, she held it together until the funeral was over. At school, things got worse. Jasmine's friends started spreading rumors about me, how my family was messed up, how my dad was a creep. I didn't understand any of it. I tried asking my parents, but they just said kids can be mean and to ignore it. By summer, it was like Jasmine and I had never been friends at all. I'd see her mom at the grocery store, and she'd literally turn around and walk the other way. Once I saw Jasmine at the pool and tried to say hi, but her older brother Thomas stood between us and told me to get lost. Summer was the worst. I had no friends. My parents were fighting all the time and nobody would tell me anything. I started having these nightmares where I was screaming but no sound came out. When 6th grade started, things at home got even weirder. Mom started going out more. Girls' nights, she called them. But she'd come home with this empty look in her eyes. Dad was sleeping in the guest room. I started eating dinner alone most nights. Remember this one night? Must have been October when I couldn't sleep and went downstairs for water. Mom was sitting in the dark kitchen just staring at nothing. When she saw me, she jumped like she'd seen a ghost. I asked her straight up what happened with Jasmine's family. Why couldn't we be friends anymore? She looked at me for the longest time, then just said sometimes adults make mistakes that hurt everyone around them. That was it. That was all I got. I became obsessed with figuring it out. Started watching my parents like they were suspects in a crime show. Kept a little notebook where I wrote down weird things they said or did. Pathetic, I know, but I was desperate. Break came from Victoria, Jasmine's cousin. We had math together, and one day she actually talked to me, said she was sorry about everything. I played dumb like, what are you talking about? And she gave me this look like she couldn't believe I didn't know. Then she said something about how adults shouldn't drag kids into their drama, how what happened between our parents wasn't our fault. I pushed her to tell me more, but she clammed up, said she already said too much. I started piecing things together. How dad used to drop me off at Jasmine's for playdates, and sometimes stay for coffee with her mom. How he'd volunteer to pick us up from swim class, even though it was during his work hours. Jasmine's dad worked on an oil rig and was gone for weeks at a time. I didn't want to believe it. Couldn't make myself even think the words. The confirmation came in the worst way possible. It was at the school winter concert. Jasmine was playing violin in the orchestra and I was in the choir. Our parents were all there. First time in the same room since everything happened. After the show, I was looking for mom when I saw Jasmine's mom and my dad in the hallway by the bathrooms. They didn't see me. They weren't touching or anything dramatic like that, but the way they were looking at each other, it was like watching something private. Then Jasmine's dad showed up with Thomas. He saw them talking and just the look on his face. Pure hatred. He didn't yell or make a scene. He just walked up and said something to my dad that made all the color drain from his face. Then he put his arm around Jasmine's mom and walked away. That night was the first time I ever heard my parents actually talk about it. They didn't know I was sitting at the top of the stairs. Mom was saying something about how she tried to forgive him, but seeing them together brought it all back. Dad kept saying it was over. Had been over for months before anyone found out. Mom said that didn't make it better. I sat there for hours listening to them tear apart our family history. How dad and Jasmine's mom had been secretly meeting for almost a year. How Thomas had found messages on his mom's phone and told his dad. How Jasmine's dad had come to our house one night when I was at a sleepover and threatened my dad. How Jasmine's parents had tried to work things out but couldn't.